why does emotional intelligence matter? Why are we even talking about this, really? Emotional intelligence, for me, is a skill set that is truly equal opportunity. So as you look at each one of these things on the screen, every single one of us has the ability to do all of these things. Every one of us has the ability, as we look at the 5 pillars of emotional intelligence, to become more self-aware, to be positive and committed, to manage our time effectively, to lift up the spirit of those around us, to come in motivated, self-motivated each day, give that gift to others, to empathize, and we'll talk a lot more about empathy coming up, so much of listening with care and intent. And of course, how we communicate with social skill. But we talked a little bit before about altruism, understanding our own needs and wants, and listening to the needs and wants of others. Every one of us has the ability to do all of these things. And so much of what the why of emotional intelligence is about for me is truly that every single one of us can focus on all of these things. Doesn't discriminate on age or anything like that. As we keep going along in our careers, we can all do these things. So you might have noticed I started this presentation calling it Connect the Chord, and that's a lot of the way that I see emotional intelligence. So we start to dive in now to some of that how-to. And how do those things manifest themselves? It's how we communicate, and as you'll see in some of the best practices, so much of communication really does begin with listening. It's not speaking first, it's actually listening, it's observing. As a very famous St. Louis legend who grew up about 30 miles north of here by the name of Lawrence Peter Berra, you and I might know him better as Yogi, as he once said, you can observe a lot by just watching. So communications really does begin with listening. It's identifying opportunities, again, as we learn through the story of Dawn Staley, not just for ourselves, but for the people around us. How can we lift up other people by providing them with the opportunities that are going to be customized to what they need for their own growth, development, and in order to carry out their job and do well? Building relationships, making smart decisions. I ask you to look at it through the context of these 4 things as we keep going forward. So diving into some of the pillars, motivation, we'll start here. And this is something that really, it goes beyond money, it goes beyond status. It's a genuine passion for showing up each day. We'll talk a little bit about self-care as well. It's the different things that go into the makeup of what make you you, of how you rise to the challenge of coming in each day, of being a great coworker, doing your job, and serving students. It's the desire to solve problems, to do your best, and to improve the experience of the people that you work with. It's coming in with maximum positive attitude. Social skill is really the aggregate of the 5 pillars. So again, self-awareness, self-management, motivation, and empathy. And as we go back to connecting the chord, social skill is really about how we communicate, starting with listening, and how we build relationships. Coming in today, I know, let me actually see a show of hands. I know many in the room here have taken StrengthsFinder, is that correct? I knew I was going to like you guys, because I should probably be working for Clifton. I swear I'm not a paid spokesman. But I'm a really, really, really big believer in StrengthsFinder. I use it all the time with my coaching clients, and I use it in this work. What StrengthsFinder does, first and foremost, is that it builds self-awareness and it builds self-confidence. Anybody in the room have the individualization strength by chance? Me too. One of the reasons that that strength resonates with me so much is that it's the first thing I think of when I think of social skill. It's that art and nuance of communicating with people and individualizing our approach to each person that we speak with. So what do I mean by that? Well, of course, from a values standpoint, we're going to treat everybody with kindness and respect, period, end of story, right? But individualization encourages and empowers us with curiosity to really get to know our staff, our coworker, our direct report, our colleagues, It encourages us to get to know people on a professional and personal basis with kindness and curiosity. And so much for me, through that lens of that strength, is really what we think about with social skill. I think for many people, self-awareness is where emotional intelligence really begins. It does start with knowing thyself, if you will. It's that art of understanding and recognizing your emotions and actions and how they affect others. But the other thing I always like to point out with self-awareness is, I think for all of us, it's up here, it's how we perceive others to see us. Which is why so much for me comes back to, are we behaving and acting in accordance with our values, our character of what makes us who we are? Just a little bit more here about self-awareness. It's recognizing what we're facing and how that leads to the self-management component of knowing then how we're going to act and how we're going to behave both in a proactive and reactive manner. This game plan is something that really came from much of my own personal and professional journey of working with a lot of top executives, both in government, also in a university setting, and in business. And it became so much of the way that I began to see my own journey through life and what I feel is a really great template for building self-awareness to help us know thyself in the most positive way. I showed earlier with the 10 qualities, we talked about having a passion, and for me, that really is, along with values, the foundation of having a great game plan. Find that thing in your job today, tomorrow, and this year that you are passionate about. If you don't yet know what it is, dedicate some time in your calendar. Sometimes it might just hit you in the work that you're doing and the people that you interact with. One of the reasons that I love doing this work is because I love helping other people. And it became very clear to me as I moved on throughout my career that my desire was to help other people. That's the underlying passion for everything that I do. So I ask you to think about, what is the passion that you have within your role? And not just within your role, but how can you then go beyond your role to give that gift to others? So knowing what you're passionate about. We've certainly talked already about values, and I'll give a few examples. I wrote about 20 in my first book, The Value of You. I talk about things like integrity, honesty, discipline, kindness, love, competitive greatness, perseverance. And last but not least, I always say, don't forget to have fun. It's a reminder. I said it to myself in the car. I'm not sure if the people driving around me thought I was crazy this morning talking to myself, but I tell myself before every one of these incredible opportunities to be here with all of you, I say, don't forget to have fun. I love doing this, and I hope that you find within your role of what you do today, and even as you continue to think deeper about the impact that you want to have here at Jefferson, don't forget to have fun. Don't forget to give that to others. See a show of hands from people in the room. Anybody familiar with Simon Sinek? Is that a name that resonates with a lot of people? Exactly right. And one of the things that Simon Sinek is really known for, he talks about having a why, which is really what our purpose is. Why are we doing what we're doing? And I know myself from having been a university employee and having worked in a college setting like this, that there's an aspect of servant leadership that comes with true purpose of giving back to students, of enriching the lives of the people around us. Purpose ties back to values, which ties back to passion. Why are you doing what you're doing? Just as we talked about in the beginning with Jefferson College's mission and my own here today, emotionally intelligent people define success. They align that with the institution that they serve, and they have it for themselves, for the goals that they want to achieve, which lead to the results. And I think about it through these three words that you see on the screen here. Everything's not just about winning and success. It's really about happiness. Many of our own definitions of success are being happy, being fulfilled. So I hope that this is a template for all of you as you begin this new year and look to serve others, that it begins with you. That ability to truly positively impact the lives of others begins first with you, of having that self-awareness.